let's take some of the realism and remember that we're playing a video game and maybe modify it to be a little simpler. And
because, to be fair, that is what God does whenever you shoot a gun. He's like, F 1 sec, grabs a pen and paper, 121 divided by 4, 1 second times 4,000.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. We're so dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I am a flat earther now.
Finally. You've finally been convinced. I've been telling you for so long.
And it turns out, dude, that like when you look, all you see is flat. So like, you can't disprove that.
Yep.
Yeah, I've literally just been spending the last couple days chilling, playing Power Walking. I had another gallbladder attack a couple days ago.
Oh.
Yes, actually yesterday. Woke up in the morning and was like, oh no. And
that's brutal.
I tried to sleep my way through it. So I've just been like no energy. Yeah, kind of.
Which is perfect vibes for Power Wash Simulator and Flat Earth debates.
Yeah, just like laughing and shaking my head at the absurdity of some of the arguments. And Power Washing Sim. I wish there, dude. I'm playing every level like for the 5th time through. I wish they had more. I bought all the DLC. Like all they need to do is just like make. The levels are simple. They're just 3D modeled spaces with dirt on them.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yeah. It feels like
more.
Just buy more Unreal assets and put dirt on them.
I would be fine with it.
Yeah.
I'd give them all my money. The game is so good.
That's so funny.
Dude, and you know what's crazy is that like there's a couple different ways of like doing it. There's one way where like it's straight and it moves with the camera, but then you hit a button and there's another one where the camera stays still and the thing moves like.
Oh, yeah.
And once I discovered that, it kind of did things differently. But what ends up happening is I end up doing like a lot of like, before it was like you would keep it straight and you would like AD strafe.
Yeah.
To like, make the nice satisfying lines. Whereas like now you can kind of like adjust it at an angle and you can kind of do like this instead, like with the mouse. And I literally yesterday I streamed for 10 hours doing this for 10 hours. And it's incredible that like someone's like, wow, Power Washing Sim for 10 hours. I'm like, I've been doing this for 10 hours and somehow my arm isn't tired.
That's so funny, dude.
There's a masturbation joke in there somewhere, but but that's the wrong hand. So
10 hours too. Wow.
Yeah.
The stamina.
What can I say, dude? I've got stamina.
Pure athleticism.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just edging all day. With the power washer, like grouting, like edge.
Dude,
it's fucked up.
There's got to be like a lawn care game that could lean into that, like edging simulator.
No, there's like lawn mower simulator or whatever.
No, I know, but like they should call it. They should like
edging simulator.
Edging simulator 2024. Like.
And then all it is like you're mowing the lawn outside of a house where there's like a woman, like changing in her bedroom or something with the door in the window open or whatever, and you're just like, yeah.
We're 3 minutes in, and this episode is already unhinged.
Yeah, this is NC-17. This is the PP. Wait, this is
wait a minute.
Make this a Patreon episode. Speaking of PP, the cursor's on your chin.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I can't see it on my end. All right. I like how you said, speaking of PP, the cursor's on your chin. Do you think PPs are on my chin frequently?
There's just a little white on your beard. So I made a couple. There's a few unstated steps, logical steps in there that.
Jesus Christ!
Listen, so what's going on with you, man?
Oh my God, bro! I finally did it. I bought the espresso machine today. I'm so excited.
Oh my God. Wait, what did you get?
So I got a Breville, whatever, however you pronounce that, the Bambino Plus. But listen, I know to an espresso lover, that's like, but it's a launching point.
No, man.
I have to start. Well, because I'm the kind of guy that like very quickly like gets to prosumer level stuff. Because I just like, when I get a hobby, I hyperfixate on it and I just go crazy with it. And
But
so
you need to dip your toes in the water just to
I know.
Is the water inviting?
I know.
Now I dump in.
I literally was like,
Yeah.
I was on the Escazo website with the $1,800 Escazo Duo PID in my cart. Like, I want it. And then I was like, stop. Like, you haven't made a single cup of espresso yet. You can't buy an $1,800 espresso machine.
Mm-hmm.
So we dipped a toe in, and maybe one day we move up from there. But I'm pumped.
Dude, it makes me. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, now I want some.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get into it.
You're gonna make some like short form content where it's just like espresso porn.
Yes, dude, bro.
I watch all the
stuff.
colors, like that Intelligentsia video I showed like a few weeks ago.
Yep.
You saturate all the colors except for like the nice brown.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, 100%. I watch all those videos.
Fucking hipster weirdo.
So I love coffee so much. So I'm excited to make I just call it the Geeks drink on my own.
Oh yeah.
Make it in my house. I don't have to spend $6-7 for it.
Are you gonna be able to make the cold foam though? Is the question.
I found a recipe. I gotta figure it out though.
I imagine it's like
doable.
making like whipped cream or something. Like,
yeah,
I don't
it's
know
pretty much like whole milk or half and half with like simple syrup, and you foam it.
How do you foam it?
You make it cold. I don't know. You can get the.
You know that's like $4 for that shit.
Yeah.
It's like. Yeah, it's like $4 for just like the fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet you can't not have it.
You cannot have it. It's the greatest.
Oh yeah.
So, anyways, other than that, and my whole family being sick again, which is just part of the thing, I learned what. Have you ever heard of thrush?
Yeah.
Yep. Found that out the hard way this week. I don't have it, but
no.
Yeah, the kids, the wife, on Forge.
Oh God, quarantine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, I was like, "Listen, I'm not touching any of you. I'm sorry." For like 3 days.
Oh, no.
Yeah, freaking. They're just little germ magnets, dude. It's unbelievable. Anyways, other than all that, not a whole lot going on. Just more of the Tarkov shenanigans. Dude, there wasn't even really any like news or anything that happened this week. I feel like I'm stuck in a never-ending conversation about armor, and I'm trying to leave the conversation. You know what I mean? It's just like all roads lead back to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm trying so hard. Like, I've been feeling recently like I've let myself sink a little too deep into the minutia of Tarkov, and I've been trying to just be like, whatever, like I don't care, I'm just here to hang out and have fun and whatever. But it's just all roads, overskilled, all roads lead to armpit. I played with Trey 24K today, and today was one of the days that I was like, for the first 4 hours, I was like, how do people play this game solo? Like, how do they do it? Like, Trey died like 6 raids in a row to just like, not a single death was in his control. And then I kept bringing his gun out, his gun and mags and stuff like that. And then it just flipped. And then it was just like 6 raids in a row. Like, we were like 6 hours into the stream, and we were like, we both survived a raid. And it was just one of those days where I was like, how does anybody play this game solo for any amount of time? Like, it was just so many things
Imagine doing that
I
for
know.
5 years straight.
I know. I don't know how you did it. It's crazy. So yeah, it was just like, I don't know. But so, and then all the conversations just lead back to the armor thing, and nobody knows. And I don't even mean this. I don't mean this in an aggressive way, but like nobody knows what they're talking about, including me. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what is supposed to happen. Nobody knows when it's a thing. And then everybody has their own opinions. And it's like, I try to just be like, yeah, dude, for sure. And then it's just like, yeah, it's just like the fourth raid in a row. You bust out the like class 5 armor, class 3 aramid, maximum coverage, and you get one tapped. It's like throat, then armpit, then it's just like 366 AP, and the game doesn't differentiate if he like, because like there's no, on some of the armors there isn't the really well defined like where the plate is and where the soft armor is. Some of it it kind of seems pretty pronounced, but some of it isn't. Like the Defender's one, where it's kind of hard.
Like the hex grid is like pretty clear. That
the
it's
hex
like,
grid, yeah,
it is the pizza box that is strapped to your chest.
100%. But the Defender covers all the way up to your neck. It's cut straight down the shoulders. It's much more like a rectangle, whereas the hex is like kind of that diamondy shape. And then it's like, I just got one tapped with an ammo that shouldn't. And then people are like, Gigabeef did a video on that ammo, and that ammo appears to maybe be bugged. It's one tapping class 5 plates. But then on the other hand, people are like, well, it probably just hit you in the collarbone where your level 3 aramid is, and it would one tap level 3. And I'm like, yeah, man, all of that's equally possible. You know what I mean? We were talking about this today. I wish this is probably another conversation we've had where like it would make sense, but they wouldn't do it because the more information we have, the more it reveals how bad things are. But I wish at the after action report, there was just an X in the exact location I got shot.
Yeah.
Because that would have answered that question. Did that ammo get like a really low 1% chance and pen the class 5? Or did he hit me in the collarbone where the plate doesn't? Because that immediately like,
imagine like a full 3-dimensional like you remember those Sniper Elite games?
Oh my God.
It was just like
that would be amazing, bro.
You could see like literal vector like lines and X's and like, oh man.
The fragments. Imagine you see the fragments and it like, no. But just an X, just a little X, just like, boop, boop, he hit you there. You know, that's all. That's all I want. So
what it would be is there'd be 9 X's that would all overlap and you couldn't tell exactly what happened.
Yeah.
They would like go out of their way to provide you information in all the cases in which you wanted it or needed it. For some reason, like it would be ambiguous and you still wouldn't know. Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So like, that's just been the thing, you know, it's the thing right now. Like almost, maybe not even almost, more than like cheaters. I get asked about the armor more than I get asked about cheaters. And just like my thoughts on it, like, what do you think? Like, you know, is this worth it? What's a good armor? Whatever. It's just like all roads lead to that conversation. And very few of those conversations are inherently like toxic. Like people aren't coming in being like, BSG. It's just the ever-present conversation. And I'm just like so tired of it. But I'm not.
It's a bunch of people that are all just speculating, guessing, confused, frustrated. Yeah.
And every single one of those people are justified because the game is doing such a bad job of setting an expectation and then executing on it or whatever you want to call it. It's just inconsistent. And once again, this isn't to say that if you like the new system, that's bad. And that's where I think it. And that's where I like for my mental health, I just have to stop talking about it because like as soon as you start talking about it or criticizing any aspect of the system, there's this assumption that like you want to go back to the old way or whatever, or you hate the system. Like, I don't care if you like the system or whatever. I think like if anybody's being intellectually honest, you can say that the system is inconsistent and hard to parse as a player. You might think that that's fine, and I would say that's fine if you think that's fine. I disagree, but like we can agree to disagree. But so it's just like a weird thing where I get a lot of questions about it because the information, you know, it's very similarly to when people say like when people say, what ammo should I use? They're saying, what ammo should I use? Because the game doesn't do a good job of letting you know, giving you the tools to make that decision for yourself. Some people would argue that it's hardcore and cool that the game doesn't give you that information. Some people would argue it's dumb and bad game design. And I don't care which one you think, but the result is players get confused and they ask questions, not out of animosity, out of genuine curiosity. And that's where we're at with Armor. It's like the game is just doing a really bad job at explaining the system. And you could argue that that's good or bad, whatever, I don't care. But what it results in is people are confused. And so then they ask me questions. But there's so much like emotional.
Yeah.
There's so much emotion charged behind this conversation because people are like, they feel like they're finally competing and they're one-tapping Chad. Some people feel like they like the old way better. And so it's a conversation. The ammo conversation is very normalized. Someone asks what ammo, everybody jumps in and goes, use this, maybe use this resource. But the Armor conversation just gets real weird real fast. And yeah, so it's just like,
here's where I think a little bit of, in this context, a little bit of the subjectivity, I don't want to say goes away, but one thing I think folks need to consider when they talk about like, oh, it's hardcore, it's cool that it doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
That, from the perspective of a fully functioning game that does exactly what it's intending to do.
Yeah.
If the intention is a little bit of obscurity and complexity,
yeah,
for the sake of realism or immersion or whatever, right? Yeah, it's all well and good.
Yeah,
but we're talking about a game that has basically never been. It's never done what it's really fucking wanted to do.
Yeah.
In which case, it's a lot harder to argue that the obscurity and the complexity is good.
Yeah.
If there's a good chance that it's unintentional.
Yeah.
And how the removing the obscurity by giving information or context would actually help the players, help the developers make the game better. That was really like long-winded way of saying
no,
that.
but I followed it. Yeah.
But yeah, in a nutshell, it's all well and good, except all the things that people have been saying for so long. It's great that they're complex and that people don't understand them. It assumes that they don't understand them for like cool and interesting and fun reasons, when in reality they don't understand them because the developers don't understand them.
Yeah.
And if they did, if we understood how it should work, we would know it was broken, and these things wouldn't take 3 years to fix.
Yeah.
So I would say that in an alternate universe where Tarkov is a different thing, and it's not in beta, and they don't take so much feedback from the community to try to help the game be better, and whatever. By all means, obscure mechanics and stuff.
Yeah,
are all well and good, but in the context of Escape from Tarkov, as it's always been in reality, the obscurity doesn't improve the game. It doesn't help the game. If anything, it makes it worse for everybody.
For sure. And it's like, and I almost wish they would just call this, like, I don't even know who I'm talking about here, but call a spade, where it's like the obscurity is also oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes not even realistic too, which is often the reason the guys behind it is like, oh, well, it's a more immersive and realistic experience. But once again, it's like how far, we say this all the time, how far down that rabbit trail do you want to go? It's like, yeah, in real life, bullets don't have like a pen value like 58 or 42. But in real life, if I'm a private military contractor, it's because I have a good enough understanding of the ammos and the like grain count and the velocity at which they fly and which ones were engineered for that. So I don't need that number because I have that knowledge. But as a player, I'm inhabiting that character as a guy with no knowledge. So we abstract that into something more simple, which ends up creating a much more realistic experience of a guy who knows what he's looking at and then can make educated decisions. So it's like you can't even really hide behind the realism thing a lot of times, because in this, if this was real, I would know these things because I would have went to school or had practice or, you know, been trained by other people, but I don't. So we abstract them or whatever. You know, a big thing, you know, me and Trey were talking about this today, because I think where I've arrived with the armor stuff is like, we talked about this a little bit, and the more I play, the more I think. So like the armor thing, the armor change did a lot of little things, and it's hard to like parse them out. But like one of the things it did was it separated all of the appendages, right? So like a Gen 4 used to be class 5 armor, and if it touched your shoulder, it was class 5 armor all the way down to your fingers. You know what I mean? If it touched whatever. So we've separated that out where like an armor can cover your arm, but this armor can be class 3 and this can be class 5, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things we did. And I think we should blend the two, the old system and the new system together in such that if any armor touches your thorax, it covers your entire thorax. I think that one singular change. If it touches your thorax, it covers your whole thorax. So
does that include armpit?
Yeah, I in Jesse's world where I could make my own ETS servers and test this out, that's what I would do. So there's still a separation. So like if you have so there's still the consideration of, oh, is there class 2 or class 3 soft armor? You know, is it that class 2 or class 3 on my throat? Is it on my neck? Is it on my groin? Like there's other places, but I think I would love to try, if it touches your thorax, it covers your whole thorax. Because that would potentially increase the time to kill a little bit, because you have maybe class 5 armor with class 2 air mid underneath, or class 5 and class 3, whatever. And we were talking about this, and like, you know, the big thing that people have been talking about with the new armor is that it's realistic, because you can get shot in the collarbone and not have but we were talking about it today, and it's like, well, why do they make plates that way? Because it covers your lethal organs.
It covers the vital.
The other thing is I can get shot in the collarbone and not immediately die. Like if I got shot in the heart, right? So it's like, is it more realistic? It's more realistic because you can get shot outside of your plate, but it's not realistic that a round with 86 damage hits me in the top of my shoulder and I immediately fall over dead. I would live
you can have elements that are realistic without the result being realistic.
Exactly. So it's like, so then people started saying, and I was like, so it's like, in that sense, you would complicate it even further. And now you should separate the thorax, not just armpit and thorax. It should be, we should have 8. There should be a heart hitbox. There should be a lungs hitbox. There should be that.
Well, and then if you get hit in the armpit and the vector's going this way, it shouldn't kill you. But if it's going this way towards your heart, it should kill you.
And then I was like, do you see how instead of overcomplicating it, if we just made it like the results of splitting up the hitbox, the thorax hitbox, into 6 more hitboxes is infinitely more complicated and ends up resulting in almost the same thing if we just say, hey, since it's a game, if armor touches your armor, it covers your whole. If it touches your thorax, it covers your whole thorax. So, and that's the simpler solution, that because you wouldn't die. There's not every single place in your thorax. Your thorax doesn't have 85 HP. You know what I mean? That's not realistic either. Like you can get shot. Like if you're if I take all my armor off and you literally like just graze my side with an 366 AP, I'll immediately die. Like not like, I'm bleeding out. I will die, fall over dead. That's not realistic. So it's like, how far do you want to go down the trail? So I say, for the sake of keeping the game, not needing a master's degree in ballistics and stuff like that to discern, we keep the thorax 1. Because if you're going to treat the thorax like your heart, this is your A zone, then let's treat it like it's your A zone, it's your heart. If armor touches it, it covers it all. And if you don't have armor on it, you can get shot anywhere and die. Because we accept that unrealistic. We accept the fact that it's like, I shot him in the thorax. Maybe in real life, it went just past my heart, clean in and out. And I'm like, feel good. I patch myself up and that happens in real life sometimes, whatever. So it's like, if we're going to accept that, if we're going to say that the whole thorax hitbox is basically your heart, and if you take 85 damage, then God damn it, just give me the armor over my whole thorax. You know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like that splits the difference. You get all the benefit of the plates, the new plate system, the swapping out of plates in raid, the whatever. You get the benefit of the aramid and separating out the arms, the groin, the neck, the back of the neck, all those different hitboxes. But you get the coverage. And so that I feel like almost gives you the best of both worlds, where now there's much more meaningful considerations with which armors do you want, which armored rigs do you want, which ones have the additional coverage, which ones don't, without a lot of the negatives of the current system, which is that like a lot of the rigs, trooper rigs are just don't use a trooper, don't use a slick, don't use a hex grid, don't use a CPC, don't use a TV-110, because they provide such little coverage. And so they just end up getting tossed out and nobody wants to use them. So I don't know. Because it's just like, it's not realistic, right? Like the thing is, it's not realistic. So we have to make some sort of concessions here. And so it's not.
I mean, wait, here's the thing. Like there are a million elements that a game could simulate.
Yeah.
Right. And by a million, I mean literally an infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Until you get down to the point where you're literally running a 1-for-1 simulation of the fucking quarks.
Yeah.
And like the electromagnetism, you know, like at some point you have to remove some elements from the equation and simplify things. I couldn't help but think of, you know how sometimes if you like, there's some like weird connection issue and you die, you're basically just like fall over dead. Randomly, you'll just be running along, you just go, and it's like no gunshots, nothing. And it like the kill feed doesn't say anything; it just says like died, and it doesn't have like a unironically, like you could make the argument, like sometimes people just have brain aneurysms or heart attacks. Yeah, that's realistic, and that's hardcore. And that's just the way it goes. Yeah. And there's no way for you to know, like, that's what they intended. So don't complain about it. Yeah. When really it was probably someone fucked up a bug somewhere, right? Yeah. And that's all I could think about. That. Yeah. And I kind of wish when you died, I feel like DayZ might have done this. When you died, I just want black screen, no sound. Oh. So if you get headshotted, I want you to be running along. Black screen, nothing. Your lights out. Yeah. I almost feel like that would be more of like a you don't get to see like and see your guy fall over and you see the dude like bunny hopping, voiping towards your like dead body. You are dead. No, but I mean back to what you were talking about. Like I mean I'm with you, man. Like I agree. I don't know what else to say. Like yeah, I mean, and it's fine. And once again, it just comes down to like, I would pay $1 million to just like talk to Nikita and just ask him like, what do you want? Because a lot of the arguments, the rebuttals I make are to arguments that the community present to me, right? Like it's just like, well, they want this, and it's like, and then I create a good argument for that. And it's like, well, I don't even know, like he just made that up. Like I just want to know like, what do they want? And they might not know. I don't know. Maybe whatever. But it's just like I have a feeling that they don't.
And
like
I think that's
that it's like they have a cool idea. Yes. We want to model the thing and let's do it. And they just don't think about what the goal is, other than like we want it to be realistic.
Correct. And I think that's almost the most likely scenario. Is they wanted it to be realistic, which once again I know that I poo-poo on the realism thing all the time. And I don't, but I really don't care. Like, I don't mind. It's just, I almost think that is the most likely scenario. They were like, oh man, like we want the armor system to be realistic. Like, and you could get shot outside of your plates, man. And that would mess you up. Okay. But I just,
no, they want to implement realistic elements.
Yeah, exactly. But I just wish that I was there or somebody was there to be like, okay, but realistically, if you got shot in the collarbone, you wouldn't just fall over dead instantly. Your HP is drained. Because I feel like if they answer that question, they'd be like, yeah, okay. So how can we? Because it's like everybody, like I don't think they're stupid. Obviously, Nikita knows, and everybody at BSG knows it's a video game. They know that they're abstracting it. Like I know the community sometimes freaks out about stuff, but like obviously they know, right? Like they're the ones that decided our heads have 35 HP. Right, like you can get shot, like, indiscriminately. I don't know if the best word. There's rounds out there like APSX has 35 damage. So at like 20 yards, the damage drop off kicks in and it has 34 damage. So with an MP7, we could do this in a raid right now, right? I could set Trey 24 meters from me, 25 meters from me. I could have him take his helmet off and I could shoot him in the eyeball with APSX. And he would wrap gauze around his wrist and he would be A-okay. So everybody knows we're abstracting this video game, right? It's not real. Like, in the event that I do get shot in the head with a Mark 18 338 Lapua Magnum AP round and I ricochet it, like, I'm not rocking in a straight line for a bit after that in real life, but in Tarkov, I get a little blurry vision and I'm back in the fight. So it's like, we all know we're abstracting the game, and I'm very okay with wanting aspects of the game to be realistic. I just wish, oh man, I'm cooking now, dude. This is where I'm at. All I wish is that for every item in the game, every system in the game that we go, we want this to feel realistic. All I want, I'm okay with that. All I want is that as a part of that conversation, we go, I want this to feel realistic. But I remember that this is a video game and we have to figure out how to make these things work together. That's just, I just want the consideration that this isn't realistic, that the whole goddamn thing is an abstraction of reality to create an immersive and realistic thing. And I just want that to be, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I actually think this armor system is a step in the right direction. I just felt like what it was missing was that consideration and the remembrance that it was a video game. I think you're right. I think they were like, dude, it would be cool if we just like the hitboxes, and they were thinking from the technical side. They're like, yeah, we could do it, and we could do that.
It would be really cool to implement those systems.
And it'd be sick. And for all, and as far as I can tell, they implemented it well. It just doesn't feel like there was a consideration or a remembrance that like we're playing a video game. And what do we want the video game to be? And what, how do we want to reward people who do well in the video game? Like we talk about all the time in Arena, right? Like your reward for doing everything the video game wants you to do is like, you can never diversify your kit. Like if you're top of the leaderboard and you have your butcher kit, like you in the current Arena, your reward for that is like, you can't do anything. That's not a good reward for that. And so it's like, all I want, and I think people think that what I want is a reversal of realism. Let's just go full Fortnite colored, purple armor, gold armor, you know what I mean? And I just want there to be considerations, which is where I'm not saying my ideas are the best ideas in any way, but that's how I arrived at the idea I have, where it's like, what if anything that touched your thorax wrapped around your whole thorax, but everything else is exactly the same? That was like, okay, this system is cool, but this is a video game. But like considering both sides of the coin led me to that version of the idea. And maybe there's a better version of the idea out there, but it's just like, that's what I felt like was missing from this. It felt like they did everything they wanted to do exactly right. They just forgot that.
They just didn't think about the player experience.
Yeah, they forgot that this realistic thing doesn't make everything that interacts with that system more realistic as a result. The armor got more realistic, but that doesn't mean the killing other players got more realistic. And that's important. You know what I mean? Like, just because you make one system more realistic doesn't mean that all the systems that touch that become more realistic. In some cases, my argument is that by making that more realistic, the dying in this game feels less realistic sometimes. Because if I got shot in my armpit at a weird angle with 9mm, I wouldn't immediately fall over dead. I would take that shot and not die in real life. But that happens more frequently as a result of this more realistic thing. So I guess that's the better way to put it. But I don't know. It is what it is. Apparently, like I was talking to Airwing and he was saying that like they did that patch where like it was like the super vague. We changed some of the damage and penetration values. Like that was one of the things. And he was saying, dude, he was like, bro, I don't know anything anymore. He was like, stuff that we were able to test and replicate like 10 out of 10 times functions completely different now. He was trying to like reverse engineer maybe some of the changes they did, and he was like, everything I thought I understood about the system I don't now, so like I don't even know. And
I
was
think
like,
maybe I saw the tweet from him a couple days ago where he said, we spent about 5 hours testing today and came to 2 primary conclusions. BSG's latest patch drastically changed how plates were working. This could simply be explained by the changes in how, quote unquote, how pen is calculated, or however it was worded. I don't know, though, because I don't know how they're supposed to operate. And then I ended up responding to the second point where he said, the old relationships of pen chance and durability have been shifted in a meaningful way, at least on removable plates. We saw 31 pen ammo getting through class 4 plates over 10% of the time. So when I saw that, the first thing that came to mind was, yeah, that's what we expect, or that's the way it's always been. And then he said, but how well plates hold up was far better than it used to be. In order to get consistent penetrations from 31 pen, we had to break plates down to about 40% durability. And then he said, saw this with class 5 plates on 41 pen ammo as well. And the math is basically the same for both of those comparisons. And both of those are exactly what historically it's always been.
Yeah.
So it's just another one of those things where I'm like, I don't know what.
Well, I think
if that's like based on expectations about what changes happened, or if it was expectations about what it used to be, or.
Well, I think what that was since the wipe, that hadn't been the case. That that is exactly what we would have expected last wipe. But then this wipe, some of the really early findings were that there are more ways to get around armor, but when you hit a plate, it's more effective. Like 31, I remember those first few days on Ground Zero, I saw clips of Gigabeef and of Airwing and of a few other people with
getting shot with nuclear bombs against P.A.C.A.s and the P.A.C.A. stopping them.
Or just the 31 ammo against the class 4, just like hitting like 11 or 14 shots. And the plate still being like 80% durability. So everybody was like, oh, interesting. Armor got a nerf because there's more ways around the armor, but armor got a buff in the sense that, so I think he was saying compared to what we had seen since the wipe, those stats were a change, but those stats look a lot like what we would have expected last wipe, which was 31 would about 10% of the time hit, you know what I mean? So it's like,
I don't know. I don't know if what he meant exactly. I tried to when I responded, because it was vague. He didn't say it was like it way used to be. He said the old relationships have shifted in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
That I didn't read that as the way it was a week ago.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And I could be wrong there too.
So when I responded, I said, what you described is the same behavior we've always had. 31 pen ammo has a 13% chance to pen class 4. A 74% chance to pen when it's at 40% durability. And he said, I can't argue to that granularity. I'd need a bunch more tests. But we saw near 100% pen as we approached 40%. 75% pen was around. I was also under the impression that 31 pen was under 5. But I can double check because none of the old tools I used to work anymore. So the old tools used to work, which had to have been referring to the old pre-new armor system. So I'm fairly sure that, and again, like this isn't me going after Airwing. This is me basically saying
just remember,
it's the whole no one fucking knows what's going on.
No one.
So literally the person right now who is, as far as I can tell, the authority on armor and ballistics didn't know how it works now or before, and that's BSG's fault. It's not Airwing's fault.
No,
but he's the one making all of the content on it. You know, so it's like, just goes to show you the guy who's putting more time than anybody else right now into figuring this stuff out, still having no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah. I saw NoFam chimed in a bunch on that, which obviously NoFam is also an authority. I mean, I know a lot of the ballistics. You worked with him. He was one of the earliest guys diving into that. Just reading this, I read it, and this is no shade to NoFam. I was just like, what are we doing? Because he was responding to something about SOST. Airwing was we were still seeing some weird numbers. SOST ammo was doing some weird stuff, and he was like, SOST has a higher No fam says it. Sauce has a higher quote-unquote penetration deviant stat than other ammo, which is an old stat they added to make it harder for players to test armors from like 6 years ago, but I guess they decided to keep it as a mechanic. Anyway, Sauce is the old MK318 ammo, which has gone through 4 different variations of the ammo, slightly very high deviation, meaning it can roll a larger number in its pen value when shot out of a gun. Most have a value of 0 to 1.5. Sauce is sitting at 5. I'm like,
and I know exactly what he's talking about. I know the equations. Here's the thing. No fam knows the equations from decompiling the game.
Yeah.
We worked together to translate the equations in the game into equations I wrote in code, which is why historically, not now, but historically, I had exactly the same behavior that the game had, including the bugs.
Yeah.
Because I literally translated it.
I was like reading this and I was like, what are we doing here, bro?
And exactly why I am like, everybody should just fucking step away and just stop, because, okay, I typed it out about 4 different times and deleted my response to Airwing because originally what my response was going to be, because he said, what was it? He said, wait, 1 second. God damn it. No idea what it was. I've done the math to just figure out baseline rules, something. Fuck. I forget what exactly the wording was, but it was basically like, and we're just trying to figure out what the math is.
Yeah.
And I basically said, if you knew what the math was, you'd know you have no chance of figuring out what the math is.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that I know he's fucking wasting his time.
Yeah.
And it's BSG's fault.
Yeah, no. I'm tracking with you 100% because like we are testers. A lot of content creators have been able to identify bugs, send information to BSG. That information has been able to be actioned on. And this is a big part of the game and really big changes. And content creators like Airwing are spending so much of their time really genuinely trying to help. Like, I haven't even heard Airwing's like opinion on the armor thing. He's not even trying to give an opinion. He's just trying to be like, this is what's happening to the players and then provide that information to BSG. But it's just so convoluted and scuffed, and anybody other than you or no fam trying to do it the right way would get banned for data mining the game. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know.
Well, to be clear, I haven't fucking data mined anything.
Oh, no.
I haven't decompiled, reverse engineered, nothing. Okay.
I just like, I don't even, we don't have to go down the rabbit hole. I'm just saying that that's what I'm talking about. Is it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I just need to go play Call of Duty. Maybe I need to go play Fortnite. Maybe if I want a hardcore game, I should just freaking deal with nuclear fission equations determining if Sauce has 73.2 damage or 73.3 damage, because it's really important that we have 4 business days of calculations happening to determine that 10th of a damage point. It's just crazy.
What I'm gonna show here is this isn't BSG's code, and it's also not relevant to the game anymore. I'll show you what I wrote for part of the ballistics equation. Now I might actually have to. I don't know if I can show it on, like I can substitute my camera. That's not it. That is not it. That is not what I meant to do. Well, I just accidentally sent Jesse a link to a red jumpsuit apparatus music video.
Down in the top, she said.
Oh shit!
That's a banger. Why was that in your clipboard?
Because we were talking about albums with screaming. Remember in the PP, the Patreon. And I had posted, I was like, no, actually, I stand corrected. This was the first song that I'd ever liked that had any screaming.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
So I'm gonna post that there. I don't know if this is gonna be relevant here, but I don't think you're gonna be able to see this. Maybe you will.
Yeah.
So if you look, okay, wait. So combat calculator. Let me just show you something. Okay, see this function right here?
Mm-hmm.
This function calculates the penetration chance, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Based on an armor, ammo, okay?
Yep.
Here, you've got all this just arbitrary bullshit. This isn't in any ammo charts, right?
Yeah.
None of this is anywhere, okay?
Yeah.
These are just magic numbers, okay?
Yep.
Look, 0.4 times parenthesis armor resistance minus pen minus a pen comp modifier times in parentheses armor resistance minus pen minus whatever, okay? All of this shit just to determine what like a percentage chance is, okay? But now you see this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Like that looks like that's already drastically orders of magnitude more complicated than anybody is able to like come up with a heuristic for, right?
Yes.
But now see this number, armor res, this variable,
yeah.
It's used twice. That's a function call. That calls a function that does this. That one number used twice to make one number with a bunch of other variables. It involves taking the armor's resolved durability divided by its max durability times 100, then scaling that by multiplying it by 2, adding 45, and then it multiplies it by 10. You know, this is just some floating point shit to round it. And then you take 121, and then you subtract 5,000 divided by the scaled percentage, multiply that by the armor class, and that just gives you the one number that is used twice in the just to get one number, which is the percent chance that the round penetrates. They just made this more complicated than that.
Yeah. And so what you're
this
saying...
is why people are like, bro, what's the best ammo? I'm like, you have no chance of having any idea what's going on. It's all fucking terrible game design.
And what you're saying is that, like, an important point on the Airwing thing is that, like, what you're saying is that anybody, no matter how smart you are, if you had until the heat death of the universe, but only had playing Tarkov to figure things out, you could never arrive there. You could never reverse engineer from being in an offline raid, shooting your friend, those equations. And so it's just so hard. Yeah, it's just like, just infinitely complicated. And I'm not even saying, like, this rant didn't even start to say that, like, the calculations are overcomplicated. All I'm trying to say with this whole goddamn thing is, like, we're playing a video game here, man. Let's take some of the realism and remember that we're playing a video game and maybe modify it to be a little simpler. And
because, to be fair, that is what God does whenever you shoot a gun. He's like, fuck, 1 sec, grabs a pen and paper, 121 divided by 4, 1 second.
What's that
times
function? Where's the thing? Oh, dude.
Okay, and also now a lot of people whenever I've talked about this, they all say, well, no wonder the game runs like shit.
Yeah.
Because of all this stuff. Again, Battle Buddy right now, like, half functions because of all the changes and shit. I'm not gonna be fixing it, whatever. But stepping back to when I was actively working on it and it was fucking fully functional, it didn't change all the things, okay? It had a feature that was a combat simulator where you would choose the character, you would choose the armor, you would choose the gun, you would choose the round. And what it would do is, and you chose the aiming method where it was only headshots, it was center mass with like a reasonable average distribution where there's a chance to hit headshots. And it would run through, and it would literally, you have 2 characters, and it would shoot a bullet, do all the stuff, shoot a bullet, do all the stuff, back and forth. And even it would actually ignore when you died. It would basically figure out, okay, they stand toe to toe and they shoot who can kill the other faster. Using the bullet and the gun's fire rate. And it would do that 100,000 times.
Damn.
Which is way more than it needed to. 100,000 fights
with all of those things calculated,
which one bullet was all of that calculation, and sometimes it was 7 to 10 to 15 bullets going both directions.
Yeah.
And it would do 100,000 of those combat simulations in a fraction of a second and use 2% of my iPhone's CPU.
Yeah. So
it's not expensive.
It's too complicated, but it's not the reason why the game runs at 7 FPS.
No, because a scav spawns in and the game goes, ah! Yeah. Computers are very good at doing math. Like
fast.
Fast, but like loading shit, moving stuff into memory, moving stuff around, rendering graphics. That's what it's a little bit more complicated.
Bread and butter of computers.
But yeah, so now the formulas that I showed you, again, they probably don't even apply anymore. There's like, I want to say 8 or 9 of those types of things.
Yeah.
For every bullet.
Yeah.
So when someone's like, what's the penetration of the bullet? Oh, okay, it's a good bullet or not. And it's like, oof, like just knowing one or two, even if you knew, even knowing the pen and the armor class, and the sad part is that we talked about this even zoomed out from an experiential level and not from like zoomed into the math.
Yeah.
It all comes down to, are you going to die in 2 bullets or 4 bullets?
That's what I'm saying. Is that like, that's what I'm saying. Is that we're taught like,
give me 100 HP, take out all the RNG,
and
then just make it so the AK does 34 damage, whereas an M4 does
that's exactly
32
what I'm saying,
damage, and now
it just goes back to what we talked about, where it was like, I can see from an engineer's perspective how all of that is like beautiful, how it's such a good idea on paper. No. I'm saying conceptually to be like, we could have armors and the armors are made of different materials, just like real life. And those materials react differently and you never really know what's going to happen. And they took that and they put math behind it and they kind of made it work. And I can understand, just like with the armor thing where we were talking about, it's like in the boardroom, we're like, wouldn't it be sick if we did this? And it was like, yeah. And then you go to do it and it's like, then you're in the weeds. And then 2 years later, you come out with these like freaking nuclear fission equations, only to realize that when it has to do all that math every time, it's just, did you die to 2 bullets or 3 bullets? And most guns shoot at 800 RPM.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between 2 bullets or 3 bullets is 1/10 of a second. So that whole thing just, it doesn't, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it's stupid. I'm too ignorant to know whatever, but I'm just like, it just practically, what is the player experience? And practically what the player experiences is just confusion. Wait, I thought 38 pen was always going to pen that. No, not always. You know what I mean? I died in 2 shots. Was like, well, sometimes it's just like, it's just confusion. So I don't know. It's crazy. It's pretty loco crazy, if you ask me.
True, man. True.
True, man. True. The only really things that we got this week are they fixed some bugs with some quests. Like there was a quest to kill Kaban and 5 of his guards, but it was basically a 50-50 shot. If you killed a guard, it would count as a guard. The end screen would literally say guard, but it wouldn't count as a guard.
And then I saw someone tweet that, and like the speculation was incredible. What people were like speculating that like it was a way, oh god, fuck, I forget what someone said. Someone was like, it was some way of, damn it, dude, why am I forgot? It's hard for me to remember crazy random shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. There were just some wacky justifications for why it was like in canon supposed to have made sense.
Yeah. And then they're like, nope, it was a bug. We fixed it.
Yeah.
They finally, a month into the wipe, fixed So It Good Part 3. They changed it from needing the Zabralos to now they just changed the armor to 6B13, which is the floral class 4 armor. Scavs have them all the time. They changed it so now they need to be found in raid, but like kill 10 scavs, 3 of them are going to have it. It's not that uncommon of an armor.
Yeah.
And you need to find one, 50 to 100%, one 0 to 50% durability. Infinitely better. And even a lot of people who had turned in their one Zabralo at 100% durability and were waiting, it carried that progress. So it changed it to 6B13, but then it gave them the one that they turned in already. So,
and I saw someone had to like restart their game and wait a few hours, and then it gave them credit. Yeah.
So yeah, it's
okay.
It's a good change. Yeah, man. I mean, other than that, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Tarkov has been it's been fun. I still love the recoil. I love how crazy guns are viable and fun. I've been building all sorts of like LARPy M4s and just like having a blast with them. It just it's been fun. All the good things about the wipe are still good. It just like all roads lead back to armor because like it's the determining factor of your experience so often, right? Like when you just get, if you build a cool gun and you're like, oh, I'm so glad this has recoil, and then you're dead to like an AI scav or like an armpit shot or whatever, you're like that. It's a hard stop on the experience. So like all the other fun of the wipe can be overshadowed by a few bad experiences. So, but we'll see what they do with it. Before we move on, I want to take a quick second and thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. We've worked with BetterHelp for a while now. It's 2024 now. It's the new year. And like we talked about before, a lot of times we get super focused. A lot of people get super focused on change. A lot of times that's just because it's a new year, and I don't know why we always think that. Or we're just coming out of the holiday season and getting back to some normalcy. And therapy can be a great way to not only talk about and get much more reasonable expectations for these huge pressures we put on ourselves early in the year, but also a great way to focus on the successes of things that we are doing. And so therapy can be a huge tool, especially around this time for a lot of people.
For sure, man. Like speaking personally, if it wasn't for the accessibility of BetterHelp as a platform, I never would have actually committed with following through with any of the the struggles that I have dealing with the mental health stuff that are very real and far more common than people, I think, like to admit, and are arguably the most important things in life. So given how fast it is, how pain-free it is, whether or not it's dealing with issues like depression, anxiety, whether it's struggles with relationships that are like personal, professional, in your work life, or it's just your own kind of personal development, getting therapy with BetterHelp can literally change your life. And what's more important than that?
100%. So it's awesome. It's all online. It's super easy to be able to find somebody that works for you. That's been huge for me. That's a huge pain point for therapy. Being able to just swap to other people. There's even like notes, being able to communicate with them throughout the week, or just say, okay, this is something I want to talk about in our next session. It's online. It's convenient. It's super quick. So we're very, very thankful to be working with BetterHelp. You can celebrate the progress you have already made this year and visit betterhelp.com/podcast to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/podcast. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Have you been playing any arena lately, or?
I played a bunch. There was a like kind of a competitive thing that happened. When was it? It was, I don't know, sometime last week. Where did I tell you about like the 10-mans we were doing in that like the Discord?
In the Discord with the like no butcher.
Yeah. So there's like Tarkov Arena League. They have like their own like Twitch channel, and like they're cool. they're actually like, they had someone casting and
That's
stuff.
sick.
And, it was pretty neat. And I got like asked if I wanted to join, and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna be bad, but like if you're cool with that, just as long as you don't expect me to be fucking world class, whatever. And I mean, I did fine. I held my own. But it was kind of a last minute thing. And what ended up happening was exactly what we saw from when they first did the like esports thing in Germany.
Yep.
And we saw like the little kind of preview before it went live.
Yep.
What we saw was almost exactly the same thing. And let me explain. So normally when I'm playing on a lot of the maps, I'm not like Shift W, but I tend to be aggressive just because, I mean, for a number of reasons. I like to be the one controlling with movement, be the one who, if someone's like holding and behind a car, it's a lot harder when you're holding and you don't know if they're going to come left or right, to when you can shoulder peek left, go right or whatever, right? But the basic like official sort of meta with all the teams devolved into exactly what we saw during that event, which is spawn. Everybody chucks nades. Now, the people we played against, we were like literally eliminated in like the first round.
Yeah.
They had basically grenade lineups. So the first game we played on Bay 5, literally like there was going to be a grenade anywhere if you just shift W in any direction from the spawn, there was going to be a grenade. So we had to like spawn doors open and kind of wait for like, and then we could move out. That gave them enough space to push out, hold angles on like 60% of the map.
Yep.
We'd push up and we'd hold angles until it was like a 3-on-3 heal out while the cleanup crew came.
Oh.
Every round, every game, every map, it's spam grenades.
Yep. Hold angles, and then the cleanup crew RNG's the win.
It's the most fucking boring, uncompetitive, uninteresting, like toxic competitive situation. Super not fun. And now I wanted to be, because like I had been invited. I got asked if I wanted to be a team captain. I'm like, I don't want to take it that seriously, so like no, but like if someone needs someone, so because I was on someone else's team, I want to be a team player. So when they're like, okay, this is like our game plan for the round, I'm going to go with what they want, right?
Yeah.
So when they're like, don't push, because here's the thing. If it was like a pub game, just a random normal game, right? I would run out and be like swinging angles and just taking fights, and I would win half of them, lose half of them. But in a competitive environment, if I were to go run out, swing, and die because the guy's good, probably better than me, right? Well, then now in a competitive environment, now there's a massive imbalance.
Yep.
It's a 5v4, and now all they have to do is go 2-2 and just trade kills, and they win.
Yep. Yep.
So instead, I had to just sit there and play passive, and I think I died to like Killa more than I died to players. And it's like, and the problem is that in Arena, there's both teams have the same objective.
Yeah.
Which is not how any competitive esport.
Right. So that's actually what I was just going to ask. I was going to be like, and I kind of answered my question. I was going to be like, why doesn't CS get campy? But it's because there's the
someone has to plant the
bomb defuse thing. Yeah. You have to complete a thing or you lose. And if they do that thing, you have to get to it and defuse it or you're going to lose. And so it forces movement, and we don't need the RNG AI to force that movement.
Yeah, and what ends up happening is now okay, I need to stand correct. I need to correct myself here. I didn't die more to Killa.
Yeah.
Than I died to the Raiders a few times. But it was probably like 70% players.
Yeah.
But that was typically because I was sitting holding an angle trying to be like a support role.
Yeah.
And then my teammates would like die, or one of the guys might actually like peak, or I would peak, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to like say that I was surviving until the end every round, because that would have been disingenuous. But just in general,
yeah.
The problem is that it's not asymmetrical, and you kind of need the asymmetry in these games.
Yeah.
Because just like CS, right? Like if the time runs out, someone needs to be the one pushing towards something.
Yep.
There's no penalty. Like literally the you're almost rewarded for just staying alive until the end and hoping that you can like outplay the bots.
Yeah.
Or, like one of the metas was like, oh, I've got the Grizzly. So you go push, I'll stay back because I have the Grizzly. And multiple rounds came down to, okay, I'm sitting right next to the point. Like one of them was on Air Pit.
Yeah.
The guy was literally sitting in like fucking Burger Town right next to the point that's lit up. And I think the other guy was like in the plane. The radiation is killing us. The bots are like sprinting all over, spamming through walls, or they're just standing there doing nothing. Because there gets to a point where like they're just no longer coming anymore. They're just standing there like oblivious.
Dude.
Because like their AI hits like an idle state. So it's just becomes a heal off. And it's like, okay, I ran out of my AFAC. I need to run past the point to go to my teammate's dead body to get his meds, or I need to go to the raider I killed 10 seconds ago over there to farm his meds so that I can win the round. Not because if you go to the point, you lose. You just like if you're in the plane, you have a straight line of sight
on both
through
points.
A billion tiny windows that you can't see through in a big bay door and whatever, right? So you can go do the objective, but it's suicide because you're going to get one tapped by a raider or Killa, or Tagilla.
Yeah.
It's so bad, dude.
Oh, that's so brutal.
It's real bad. Like there should be one site. The site should be, like Bowl. Bowl has like the two.
Yeah.
The site should be whatever's opposite of the attackers.
Yeah.
So if you're spawn on the front of the plane, you're attacking, it's the B site.
Yep.
That's the back of the plane. And if you don't capture before the time is up, you lose the round.
Yep.
And then it just flip-flops.
Yep. That would be.
And it could be like 3 rounds where with a map like that where there's 2 points where you're attacking multiple round. Like you could have it so that you're attacking A, defending A, attacking B, defending B, both sides. So you actually end up getting like 4 different plays, whereas normally with CSGO, you'll go back and forth between like you're defending, but the defenders always defend from one side. They spawn closer to the points so that they can like set up shop. It needs to be something like that if they want to, because otherwise it's just too risky to move.
Yep.
Because you make noise and information is key. Oh, and that's another element too, is that the moment you start moving, because there's no teammate indicators, there's no mini map, because the maps are designed in such a way where you're not like, it's not exactly the same layout as when you're defending and there's always 2 guys defending A lane and B lane and 1 guy mid, and you can kind of do that sort of, but because it's sort of symmetrical and not asymmetrical, there's no minimap, there's no teammate indicators.
Yep.
The sound is scuffed. When you move, what you're doing is adding chaos to what is a known system. I know my teammate is there. My teammate is there. The moment anybody starts moving, well, now things become kind of question marks where it's like, I heard gunfire, I had to move, I had to go heal, and now I hear footsteps over there. Is that a teammate?
Yeah.
I don't know. So you have to, in every other game, you only have to communicate the enemy's location, because the teammate's location can be inferred directly or indirectly from the mini-map, from the state of timing of everything, or from teammate indicators and consistent outfits.
Yeah.
But in Arena, you don't have consistent sound. You have inconsistent outfits. All the things we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Bad netcode and super chaotic like situations, circumstances.
Yeah.
So you're just quadruply punished for moving. So that's another reason why nobody moves. Everybody sits still.
Yeah.
And they just wait the timeout.
Yeah. It's so funny, man. Like as when I was like younger and played shooter games, I really never understood the appeal of like search and destroy. But from a competitive perspective, like TDM with more like with adding just like RNG, like like AI or something like that, like it does not support a competitive environment at all. Like everything you just described, I've tracked with it, and it just sounds so gross. If we're fighting for ARP, or if we're competing in a tournament, or if we're competing for money, you know what I mean? It's just like there has to be some sort of required movement. So
yeah, and one of the things that a lot of people have said, including someone in chat that just asked right now, he said, why are we trying to make a new esport mimic others?
Yeah. Why
can't we just have originality? Originality for the sake of originality is not good.
No.
When it comes at the cost of like functional, coherent game design.
Yeah.
Like I just think of the most far out thing you can think of.
Yep.
That's going to be original. That doesn't mean it's going to be good.
100%.
The reason why these games do the things that they do is not necessarily because they're just trying to copy other things. It's because those things work for very specific reasons.
Yep.
Tarkov Arena can do it differently and have it work, but it doing it differently by itself is not inherently a good thing when it fails to account for literally decades of game design experience that we've learned from, that have established what works and what doesn't work.
Yes, exactly. Originality can be done outside of compromising the integrity of competition. That's not the only place a game can be original. You know what I mean? Like it, and I don't even agree with this. I said people don't want originality. I don't even necessarily agree with that all the time, but I think it's just like, you can't just be like, cars should have 5 wheels because that's new and original. And if you disagree, then you're just trying to force everything to be like everything else. It's like 4 is a pretty good number. We have a lot of good reasons to think that cars with 4 wheels works better than with 2 wheels or 3 wheels or 5 wheels. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of
like,
cool different cars with 4 wheels.
And there's a lot of cool different cars with full 4 wheels. You know what I mean? So like, because the thing is like, does anybody enjoy the competitive experience of Arena as it stands? Is anybody making that argument where it's like this is a superior or even comparable experience from a competitive perspective? No.
No, the people that argue are people that haven't played it in a competitive environment, like any kind of high stakes.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm talking about. People will do what's going to be like best for them.
Yeah.
Which is why when $100,000 is on the line, like that fucking tournament or whatever, whatever's the most powerful, smart thing is going to be the thing that like ultimately people are going to do. And we saw it plain as day then. And now, trust me, if we could have done something different, if there was some other way to like get around it, we would have. But instead,
and everybody,
the best thing is to just not move.
And everybody in chat was like, ratting, everyone's ratting. It's like, yo, you go in there and try running around with 100K on the line. It's like, you're going to do the same thing.
Yeah, when all these dudes who are going to click your head in -2 milliseconds, And also keep in mind those guys also had the original recoil.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
so
dude.
It was like running and gunning. You felt even less confident.
Yeah.
Um,
and once again, it was BSG, not us. Like, because the argument has been made many times in Tarkov, where it's like, well, this isn't a competitive game. Of course, the game systems aren't going to support it, and that's been a valid argument.
Yeah.
But it was BSG that came out and said, we want this to be an esport, a competitive. We want to make that a core tenet of this game. So now we can judge it as such. And so once again, going back to the originality thing, it was like, if they wanted to make something original, they could have made something original. They said they wanted to make a competitive game. If in a universe where they came up with a completely different original game mode that wasn't search and destroy, but that functioned well, nobody would be complaining. Nobody would be like, search and destroy. It's like if it encouraged movement and healthy competition, we'd all be happy. But this is just TDM with more RNG. So, and they were the ones that said this is supposed to be a competitive game. So you can't come at it and just be like, why can't we just let something be original? It's like, well, they put themselves in a box before we did. They said we want to be a competitive esport.
Well, yeah, and also too, think about the fact that if there hasn't been like any deaths in X amount of minutes, the crowd boos you and the announcer's yelling at you going, like, time is running out, you fucking pussies, run around and do something. Yeah. So like they don't want you to sit around and but so their own design betrays their desires for the game.
Yeah.
Right? So that's all I'm saying is that, okay, if
for sure.
If BSG, if you want us to do something different, you need to change your game because you painted us into this corner.
Yeah. And I don't even care, dude, personally, my vibe, I don't even care about the competitive stuff for Arena. I just want freaking unranked. I want custom games. I want to be able to quadruple my PMC's HP and force everyone to run like MP5s. Like, you know what I mean? I want like TTK the game and just like crazy. I just want to do custom games, and we haven't had any of that yet. But
oh yeah, and I talked to Nikita and I asked him, because remember the tweet that had like the things that they were planning on doing?
Yeah.
Like when he mentioned custom loadouts, I asked him that. So he confirmed with me that you will have the ability to make like a full custom preset.
Yep.
Which I don't know like what that means if you end up like if there's going to be a point system where you can't choose all the things.
Yeah.
Where there's
maybe,
some amount of like, you know, like I know is it Call of Duty or one of those other games, maybe Battlefield, maybe Insurgency, I forget, where it's like I think Insurgency does it, where a lot of games do it, where it's like you can have like a laser and a foregrip and a suppressor, but then you don't have enough of a currency, whether it's points or whatever, to put a dot and an extended magazine and a butt stock.
Yep.
So I just wonder how that's gonna work, and ultimately, like the sad part of that is that we're gonna end up with very likely. I feel probably. Well, you know what? With the new recoil, it opens up a lot more options. Sure. The old recoil, it would have devolved into there's like 3 guns you can use and that's it.
Yep.
So I mean, it could be cool. I'm looking forward to it. I have a feeling that it's gonna disproportionately weigh the cost of things that I like, whether they're like powerful or not. You know, like. The ACOG is going to be 1 point, but the Voodoo is going to be 17 points. So it's like, okay, I guess I still never get to have. I want like good headphones and a Voodoo and like a good round. I'll go with no armor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if my P.A.K.A. build had Comtac 4s and a Voodoo on my RSAS, but instead I have to have no headphones and a Voodoo with an RSAS, or a Voodoo with an RSAS and P.A.K.A. no headphones, or like whatever.
Yep. And if it's all custom games, I'm sure you'll be able to do whatever in custom. You know what I mean? Like if it's not if you're not progressing, I feel like you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, custom games, I feel like there should be no limitations.
Yeah,
but I mean, the custom kits will be like normal, like not custom games.
Yeah. I see what you mean. You'll be able to do that.
Which, as much as I hate the current preset system, I actually would like it conceptually if they implemented any of the other things that I proposed.
Yeah.
It'd be really fucking cool if once a month there was a new tree and you could unlock multiple things, because there's an infinite number of presets they could come up with.
So many guns.
All the gun, armor, ammo, optic, attachment builds out there. Headphones, armor, meds, whatever. There's a million that could come up with. They could be themed. One month it could be fucking voted on by the community. The next month it could be Halloween themed. The next month it's fucking content creator, like streamer item, but like you get like, this is Pestely's kit, this is Jesse's preset, whatever, that we get to design them, and then they take whatever we design and they put, maybe make some tweaks to them, give it a gear score, put it on a tier, put it on the tree. But like that would be infinite content forever, to where you're constantly, and it would change the meta, it would keep things going, and it would also not allow you, I guess, to just get complacent and choose one thing and stick with the one thing forever, whether it's Butcher or whether it's meta kit number 1 that you saw in the YouTube video that content creator made that now everybody's running. I don't know.
For sure, man. Dude, I completely agree. Dude, I don't know, man. We'll see. I was really hoping that some of the stuff they had put in that roadmap would be in by now. So
last weekend we had like they made a couple of changes. One was they added basically multipliers for, now this was like a patch, like a permanent change as far as I know.
Oh yeah, to the
they
maps,
added multipliers for XP based on the map, which made sense.
It makes sense,
because if a game takes twice as long, then you shouldn't get the same amount of XP. Otherwise, you get what we saw, which was nobody played Sawmill. Nobody played Sawmill. A lot of people didn't play a lot of other maps. Like it was basically Equator and Bay 5 because they were the smallest and fastest, and that's what people want. In and out, kill, whatever. They wanted to see the people shooting at them, not, I'm sitting there with my fucking 8x scope, and I'm like I never get a chance to snipe anybody. I literally like have to point fire the guy 5 feet from me with my laser, even though I'm on a sniper map, because when I sit and I scan, I die before I see anybody, because I must have just gone to the place everybody goes, even though I'm like, what would be the last place anybody would go? And I go there. Maybe that's what everybody thinks. I don't know. Maybe I'm super visible. Maybe they're all cheaters. Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah. But then they also did an event, like the end of wipe event kind of thing with Arena, where it was like 2 to 3 XP, 2 to 3 times XP.
I forgot about that. I remember seeing some tweets about that.
So like normally, if you get decent stats in a game that you win, you get like 6,000 or 7,000 XP.
Yeah.
In this case, it was like you play Sawmill and was getting like 30,000 XP.
That's crazy.
So like was able to grind out a couple more presets.
Yeah.
And basically they only did that like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then now it's back to normal. And I'm like, oh, well now I just don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
Like you get like a hit of that, the good stuff. And
you're like, wait, I can progress anything I want and actually do it pretty quick. It's gone. Okay, well.
Yeah. Now it's like, okay, well now I don't want to go back to having to play for literally 20 hours to fucking to unlock a thing that I'm not even excited to use. That's just marginally better. The thing that I keep dying to, that I look at and I go, I don't think I'm gonna like using this.
Yeah, but I just keep dying to it.
Oh god, that's another thing too, dude. There's a couple of kits where one of the kits mouse it's the last one on one of the trees where it's the FAL with a 20 round polymer mag, the long one, suppressed, and it's got like I don't know if I mentioned this before, but like the
left shoulder chicken wing thing.
Bro, like literally, I have pictures where it's like guys swinging like this.
Yep.
They just run around like this the whole time, and that's cancer, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I want Arena. I want that. I want a hit of those first few days again. It was so much fun when nobody had meta kits. You know what I mean? Oh
yeah, dude. I want free for all, dude. That was my favorite. It was my favorite. If you go back I've got all these videos. They're all, I think, privated now. They're all on my fucking Facebook. Before I was like a content creator of me
Call
playing not OG Call of Duty, but COD. I don't know if it was one of the like World War II. Was that one of the Call of Duties? I don't know. I forget. I always mix up whatever they were. But they're just compilations of me being accused by people every single game of cheats. Because here's what I would do in a free for all. Right, there's 10 people.
Yeah,
you get to 30 wins. Maybe Vanguard. I don't know. You get to 30 kills, and that the game's over. Right.
Yeah.
My goal was to get to 30 before the second place guy got to 10. So it'd be 30 and then like 9, 8, 7, 2, 1, 0, 0, or whatever. And most of it was just I had slightly better aim than everybody, and I was a sound whore.
Yeah.
And that game was just smooth, and the characters moved smooth. So you had good crosshair placement and good timing, and it was pop headshot.
Yeah.
And I just love running around. Every footstep is an enemy, and it's just pure aim, like aim factory. You're just aim, shoot over and over. You don't have to sit there and fucking wait 45 seconds because you died to a nade right away.
Yeah.
I want that so bad, dude. I love free for all.
Oh, and that's the mode they teased in the patch notes, right? It's called like Last Hero. I think it's free for all.
Yeah, so I think either that or people have been talking about like there's going to be a 1v1 mode. That would be. That's probably going to be
called, like,
fun
Duel, I think.
Until it's like infuriating.
Yeah,
because the cheaters are going to love that.
Yeah,
because that's like the cheaters love to be bullies.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah,
It's the very real. They want to stand over you, spit in your face while they have their foot on your chest. Kind of that. They love that kind of feeling that they get, which is why they all spam. You fucking suck, you piece of shit. Blah, blah, while they're fucking zooming around, flying, aimbotting, because they need to feel that because they're sad humans, right?
Yep.
And it's going to be like, that game was good. That game felt good. That guy was really good. He beat me. I lost 10-9 or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's going to be 0-10 against the most toxic
cheater McGee.
Yeah. Racist name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm still like, obviously I'm not a competitive person, but I really hold out hope that they want it to be a competitive game. I want everything Tarkov does to succeed. So I hope that they, like a lot of those criticisms that you and many others have leveraged, and not even criticism, but just like watching it, right? Like watching that tournament that was in Germany, and I'm sure participating in that tournament, it just didn't feel like it doesn't feel like it. I hope they get the competitive side down, but even on the flip side, like I hope even just as a more casual arena player that I would be, I just hope that I hope they get more game modes in soon. I hope they get a better progression system in soon. I hope they get unranked in soon. Like, I want to play it, man, but I don't want to play what we have, really. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And I hope unranked is what people want it to be. I just don't see how, like it seems to me like people are like, unranked will fix these problems that we experience. But I don't understand. I mean, the only thing, and maybe this is what everybody is talking about, is that they want to be able to play the same annoying, frustrating, not fun game without losing rating.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's not a solution, really, because they're still going to be facing people who are super sus cheaters. They're still going to be facing people with uneven gear. They're still going to be facing people who are way better than them. They're still going to be, it's still going to be like toxic comms and all that other shit from people, like still taking it more seriously. So like, all it is like you get to suffer in the same way without your rating going down.
Yeah. Well, I want to not play the same 3 teams over and over again. That was a super annoying thing. And that was all had to do with my rating. Right? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. I want unranked to be good, but how the matchmaking works in unranked, determines if it's good, which is why I'm saying I hope that they nail unranked, not unranked will be the savior of the game. I know you didn't say.
I guess that's
didn't say I said that, but that's what I'm holding out hope for. Is what are the metrics of matchmaking in unranked, and I hope that comes along with some progression changes that incentivize people to want to unlock more kits, not decentivize people to want to unlock more kits. And then whatever the, like, if there's like, if we don't know yet, but even if they just did everything that they said in the thing, if I can connect my character and create my own loadouts, but you can't create your own loadouts in ranked, obviously, because that might be, but if you can create, it's like, if I can have a few kits, even if it is the point system, and I can create a few loadouts of my own, create 5, 6, 7, 8 ones of fun different guns and just play on ranked, and I lose, I win, doesn't matter. I'm not playing the same 3 teams
without
over and over again.
progression.
Yeah.
Do you think? Because like I found that now that like I've unlocked most of the things that I could want to unlock, now there's no progression. So like I instantly lost interest.
I mean, that's
even though like I don't even. It's so arbitrary. It's like I just need something. A carrot. I don't even like carrots, but I need a carrot, right? I don't care about. But
I mean, that was the prestige in Call of Duty, right? There was the never-ending carrot. You could just prestige, and then you do it all again. Then you do it all again. Then you do it all again. Then you do it all again, and you get the cooler little symbol next to your name, and that was it. That's all it had to be. Cool little symbol next to your name. That was all it had to be.
So I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know. I guess what was I gonna say? That a major issue with the reason why you faced so many teams is because us that were grinding so much, our ratings were just arbitrarily way higher than they needed to be.
Yeah.
Like the numbers didn't need to be as big as they were.
Yeah.
There are people with 9,000 ARP now.
Damn.
You start with 1,500.
Yeah.
But all that means is that they just kept playing with their group, the 4-man of D pluses. So they just kept going up like 15 points every time with you just plus 15. And if you have a 70% win rate or whatever, then you just go up and up and up and up and up. And what it does is it creates this artificial separation.
Yeah.
Where what you have is 90% of the population of Arena are all in D+.
Yeah.
The 1 to 2,000 ARP. Literally, like 9 out of 10 players are like in that range. And then you have 500 people in the world that are not going to couldn't play against each other because they're in different regions. So there really is only like 80 people in your region that you could play against, and how many of them are playing on the maps you're queuing up for right now? So that's why it's the same people, because you just so happen to be 4,000 ARP. 95% of the population can't be matched with you.
100%.
So like it needs to not be plus 25 when you win. It needs to be plus 3 when you win until you're 1,000 ARP above the person you win, and then it's plus 0.
You
win and you go plus 0.
Yep.
In which case, you'll never be ranked out of matchmaking. Maybe not plus 0, but maybe plus 1.
I see what you mean, though. Yeah.
Because then, unless you win 100% of your games, like there needs to be a point where you can't go any higher. If you're number 1 in the world and you're 9,000 ARP, second place could be 5,000. You don't need to get plus 10.
Yeah, plus 15, plus
winning.
15, plus 15. Yeah.
And that's why like chess doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like literally, I've been watching Hikaru. And all of his content lately has been, he's like, I think literally number 1 on chess.com.
Oh, damn.
Where he's like, he has to find a balance between, so he's like 3,400 or 3,300 elo, which like over the board, like nobody's, I don't think anybody's ever been 2,900 before ever. But he's like, 3,300 plus in like every time slot, because he will win 50 games in a row and then draw a game. And when he draws, he goes down -5. And when he wins, he gets +1. So he can win 5 games, draw, and lose points.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So what he's doing, and that's assuming he's playing against 3200s.
Yeah.
But there are no 3200s really that are like, so normally what he's doing is he's playing against like 2700s and 2800s. He can beat them. He does adoptions, which is you basically go 10-0 against somebody. And then it's like, okay, I'm done. So he plays these people who are 2800 that, bro, I'm 1200. and if I play against a 1400, it feels impossible.
That's crazy.
And I will, it's so funny how like people are like, oh, you're bullying all these 2500s. And he's like, why are you talking shit about these people that are better than chess than you would ever imagine, dream you could be?
Yeah.
And you're saying that I'm like, and it's kind of true in that like, he's just that much better. And chess has so much more variation and skill ceiling than Tarkov does. There should be like 4 ratings, and that's like it. There's 4 kinds of people. There's the dad gamers, you're terrible. Yeah. There's the average gamers, then there's the above average players, then there's pros. Yep. Break it into 4 groups. You don't need 9,000 granularity rating points. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah. Dude. That's crazy. I was talking to Trey today about chess, and he was like, bro, I'm like 800. He was like, every time I play Veritas, man, he's so good. Like, I can't beat him, man. He's on another level. And it's so funny because then when I hear
fucking bad,
but that's what I'm saying. And then when I hear you talk about chess and you're like, I'm level 1200. When I fight 1400s, I feel like an idiot. I feel like I don't even know what game I'm playing, and they're so much better than me. And then those guys would never even come close to smoking a 2500 who is going 0-10 against Hikaru. Like,
yeah.
It's
just... and then like when I played CS:GO, I was average at CS:GO. I was like DMG, which is like, I don't know how the distribution is. It might have been at the time, because all the ratings are different now. It might have been at the time probably slightly above average if you look at all the players in the world.
Yeah.
But like if you look at anybody who like takes it remotely seriously, it's probably average. But like I played. There was is it 2v2? There's a wingman game mode where it's 2v2 and the maps are like, there's only one bomb site rather than 2.
Okay.
And I played against this guy Steele, who is actually an ex-CS pro, one of the guys who was on iBuyPower when they got banned for match fixing. It wasn't match fixing. I don't remember the details. But anyway, now a lot of people would say like, yeah, he's not good. He's a fucking pro. He's better than you are. Yeah. And I did a 2v2 with some fucking rando like edgelord guy who was like wicked toxic and whatever, and we beat Steel. I killed him a bunch, like, and he's infinitely better.
Yeah.
Right. And yet I could still win in a game where the guy is a pro and I'm just average. That shit doesn't exist in chess.
No. Yeah.
Like there's no fucking way. There's no way I could beat Hikaru
ever.
Unless, like, it would have to be the biggest ever. Nah, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But, and that has there really is like you have a 200 to 3,000 rating point range.
Yeah.
And when you win, you go up. If you're playing people who are about your rating, up or down, 8. So if I play at 1200 and I win, I go +8. If we play again, it's -8. If we play again and I win, it's +8. If we play again and I lose, it's -8. If we play again and I win, so it's.
Yep.
And yet Arena has 25 point differences.
Yeah.
And it's trying, it just doesn't make sense.
I saw this video recently of Magnus Carlsen walking late into a game. It was one of the timed games where you have a total of like 3 minutes, whatever. And like, so the other guy went first, hit the thing, and Magnus wasn't there yet. And Magnus showed up with 20 seconds left on the clock on his turn. And the other guy had his full 3 minutes, and Magnus still won. And I was like, oh my God.
And he's also done to where the other guy was late. His timer was going down. And so, he would play. I don't know if it was Magnus or Hikaru, but he would play the move, hit the clock, wait for the guy. He'd come back, and there'd only be 30 seconds left. The guy would play his move, and then Magnus would wait until his clock was down to 30 seconds too, just to like even it out.
Damn.
Dude, it's actually really funny. Speaking of chess, actually, so yesterday I actually rated my buddy Joe Bruin, who has done a bunch of like casting and stuff. He's like crazy good at chess. I don't know what his rating is. It's probably like 2,400 or something.
Damn.
Like, super. I met him at the chess.com booth at
TwitchCon
TwitchCon in San Diego. Super cool dude. He gave me some coaching once. He was talking about how like Trey and a few other people are like into chess, and we want to have like a Tarkov chess event. He's like, chess.com could probably like hook you guys up with like prizes. Like it might be a thing. So I'm trying to get.
That'd be sick.
I'm trying to get something like that done. But what Hikaru is on this new thing where he does all these different speed runs, where he starts off. One of them was the Bong Cloud speed run, which you talked about.
So
he starts off at a new account. No, it's sanctioned by chess.com. They actually allow it. They give him like a Smurf account. And what happens is he beats people and their elo gets refunded.
Oh, okay.
But he starts off at 420 is his elo, and he plays bullet, which is 60 seconds, no increment. So like 60 seconds, and that is your resource.
Yeah.
You don't get it back. So it like some time controls where you play a move and your clock goes up.
Okay.
So like the common one is 3-2. So you start with 3 minutes. Every time you move a piece, you get 2 seconds added.
Okay.
So as long as you move your piece, your clock goes up.
Yeah.
But it gets really hectic at the end, and and he plays this thing where he basically plays a terrible opening that puts him at a massive disadvantage, and he starts at 400 elo, and he literally wins 500 games in a row until he gets up to 3,000, and then he starts losing. And usually when he loses, it's usually found out that the person was cheating.
Damn.
One of the times he actually lost because the website glitched, and his timer went from 9 seconds. He moved, and it was at 1 second, and it was like, where the fuck did my time go?
Jeez.
But right now, what he's doing is it's a disrespect speed run. So he's got sunglasses on, and it's got a whole 80s theme. You know, it's the whole doc kind of thing. But literally, what he does is the whole time he's just like, this person's fucking terrible at chess. Like he just talks shit the whole time, starting off at like against fucking 400s.
Damn.
And it's like he usually gets checkmate in 4 moves, 5 moves.
Oh my god.
It's just disgusting. You know, it's actually pretty funny, but dude,
that's
and the funny thing is that like I'm having this conversation. I've been doing chess puzzles this whole time.
Oh, that's so funny, dude.
I gotta get my chess rating back up to my puzzles over 2,000. It's 1942.
Oh damn. I mean, that's kind of all the Tarkov stuff. Have you been seeing any of the? I mean, there hasn't been a big thing, but some new information has been trickling out about Gray Zone Warfare. We talked about it a little bit, and we watched the trailer for that. I don't know if you remember. This was a while ago. I'm getting really excited for that game. I'm like, what I'm excited about is like, so I don't put a lot of stock in like time frames or anything these days. But I think from a 10,000 foot view, some of the tentpole decisions that they're making is what you and I have dreamt about when we've like had all these like conversations about merging DayZ and Tarkov and stuff like that. So we've had some new information come out. So I'll walk you through a little bit. Basically, so it's okay. We've talked a lot before about a bunch of different conversations. I remember. It's funny because like this conversation is going around on Twitter right now, but you brought this up to me so long ago and convinced me it was a good idea about how like there should just be less PMCs per map in Tarkov. And I'm fully agree with that, but we don't even get into the controversy, how controversial that is now. And how like,
now suddenly everybody's talking about that when it comes to spawns.
I mean, yeah. I mean, most people still disagree, but I believe that the people that disagree would agree with it in practice. They just don't want to, like, you know what I mean? Anyways, so it's like, okay, so we have big open world, which is what we've always dreamed Tarkov be. It's a 42 square kilometer map. I don't really know how big that is compared to the GTA 5 map or whatever. It's just a big map. It's bigger than the Tarkov maps. and there's only going to be 48 players at a time on each server, and they're persistent servers. And your body, like when you die, your body is still there for 1 hour, like one real human being hour before, so you can get back to it. And then here's the other thing. The other thing that I had never figured out, and this, we don't know, it could be a terrible idea, but one of the things whenever I would dream up my perfect game that I could never figure out was like, I like the progression of like getting loot and keeping loot that Tarkov has. But like, how do you do that with something like DayZ? There's no offline, right? There's no like hideout stash. So the way it's going to work in Gray Zone is that there are exfiltration points where the more you explore the map, you like unlock more. Mm-hmm. And what that exfiltration point is like a helicopter comes and takes you, and you never leave the server. What it does is it just takes you to a part of the map that's a safe zone. So you still exist in the server, and it's a safe zone where you can store some of your gear. And if you die, I'm assuming you just like respawn there and then try to travel back to your body if you so choose.
Yep. So, no vehicles.
Yeah. So it's like a way to keep it all in raid in the persistent server, but still have some offline progression. It's not offline, but at any point, if you're making a good loot run or you kill some players or you do some missions or whatever, you can like call for that exfil and cash some of that stuff out 100%. Yeah. Which I was like, that's interesting, because that was the thing. Like, I don't want base building, I don't want Rust, I don't want some of those modded DayZ servers, but I also want the persistent server. I just want to be in the game for my 10-hour session.
I want to be able to get revenge on the people that killed me. Dude. I want to.
And that's what it is. So it's lower player count, bigger map, persistence, servers, and it's a lot more like AI focused. They said that they're going to have separate PvE only servers. We don't know what that means for like progression, but that's cool that they're like letting people that, be interested in that. But I'm all about the PvP servers and stuff like that. So I just like, it's just everything, all the stuff that I've wanted. There's going to be missions, and like, because that's the other thing I've wanted out of it is like the survival aspect. Like I want to have a reason to go places and do things, there's quest givers, there's missions, there's AI, like strongholds and stuff like that. There's going to be an interesting thing where like there's 3 factions in the game, and like factions can take over like some of these AI strongholds, and those can end up being additional places for you to additional safe zones. So like the more your faction controls of the map, the more places you have that are safe. And then if another faction does it, your stuff is still secure. I think you can just only access it from the other places. And then they've even talked a little bit about like a karma system where they don't want you killing your own faction, like whatever faction you choose, but you can if you want to. And they even talked about, you remember how we've said that like with scav karma, we've talked about how we know they would have to be an elegant solution, but we would like for there to be like
negative benefits.
Yeah, like what's the guild in Skyrim, the Assassin's Guild or whatever, the Black Hand,
the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah, the Dark Brotherhood. So they've already talked about that, where the game is going to incentivize you to not kill your own faction, but there will be, if you just go rogue, it's literally called going rogue, but the negatives, so you could end up being approached by some of the AI factions in game and like get in their good graces by being somebody that kills all the other PMCs. But the negatives can be significant in the sense that like your access to your own stash is much more limited because you don't get access to some of these safe zones. You might then only have 1 or 2 places on the entire map that you can access your stash in some of these AI camps. So it's a life you choose, but if you wanted to go rogue, you could. So it was just like, I watched this like 30-minute breakdown. There was like a big interview with a dev that like Rilo, who's this really cool dude, did. And I was like, Dude, part of the time I was like, these guys watch the podcast and just we were too lazy to make the game we always wanted, and these guys are making it. Like so many conversations you and me have had where it's like, man, wouldn't that be so sick? And we were like, yeah, they've considered and are working into this game. So, dude, I am very keen to check it out.
I'm really excited. I don't know. I haven't signed like an NDA or anything. Yeah. I'm sure I will be talking to them.
Yeah.
And giving my feedback. I'll just say that to whatever degree. I'm hyped.
Yep.
And I'm sure I'll be able to say something at some point about anything. Yep.
Same. So I'm excited. And it could suck, right? Like I'm not trying to hype it. I'm just saying like they're speaking my language. Everything I see about it is just like that's what the hell I wanted Tarkov to be. You know what I mean? And I think I still love Tarkov, but I think the dream is past. Like I used to be on the copium of like, dude, once we get to open world, it's like, dude, we're never getting open world. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm excited. It's so sick. It looks cool. So we'll see. But yeah, that's the other thing that I've got my eye on. Apparently they're shooting for like a Q1 early access release or something. I really don't know. But
dude, I've been watching more of Bodycam. I want that game so fucking
Oh
bad,
yeah, I've seen some of that stuff. Yeah.
Have you seen the newer stuff?
I don't know. Maybe. I feel like I just saw something go crazy on Twitter.
I know Jack Frags made a video that did pretty well. Dude. Oh my god, it's so...
Yeah, Bodycam was cool. Have you seen Out of Action?
No.
Out of Action is another one that looks really cool. It's a more like stylistic shooter, but made by like one guy or something. It looks really cool.
Yeah, bro, there's so many elements of Bodycam that just seem interesting. It's like hard to look at it and not think it's VR.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's really interesting to think about, like what that means. Honestly, I just think it might be, and I've talked to some people who have played it. Seeing what I see, I think it'll be the most immersive shooter experience that I think I've ever experienced. I'll know when a huge portion of that is how it's going to feel.
Yes. For sure.
But bro, like here. First of all, the teammate indicator, like this is so much more fucking immersive. Especially, I love the pixelation of the faces. It makes me feel like I'm like watching something I shouldn't watch.
Yeah.
Like this is some like Faces of Death shit or whatever. But dude, it just looks so fucking good. It looks so real. Now I know a lot of people are going to basically be like, I can't play this. I know it's gonna make some people like wicked seasick.
Yeah.
But like, it just looks.
Dude, it looks so real.
It looks so real. Now, part of the things about the game is that I think the controls are going to take a bit to get used to.
Yeah.
Because you aren't controlling like your arms in exactly the way that like, oh, look at the flashlight. Dude, the
flashlight looked crazy good.
In the way that like you're used to. Like when you go to aim, it like takes some time for like, you know, you to like bring your hands up. And you kind of have to like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, the controlling of the character is something that is going to be a little bit funky, right? Because
For sure.
look at how much, if this isn't VR, think about look at the granularity of like the hands and the control over like,
yep.
You aren't like instantly able to ADS perfectly in line right away all the time, right? In the same way. But like, dude, shooting somebody and like watching them like fucking writhe in pain, like is such like a visceral thing. Oh God, bro. And then, oh my God, the have you seen the like nighttime?
Oh no.
And randomly in the middle of a game, he's like, it's pitch black. Oh my God. I want to find it, dude. It's so good. Yeah, this is Jack Fragg's video. Oh God.
It looks crazy.
Like this the vibe I get from this, it's like, oh my God, at one point, dude, he storms into a room and like just kills two guys because they have their backs turned to him. And I'm like, that has to be the closest visually ever to what it would be to fucking like walk into a room and kill two people. Like it yeah, this is it, dude. Look at this. It looks like a fucking horror game.
That
bro.
is Nope.
The lights like flicker on and off and shit.
Nopers.
Look at that lighting, dude. That's how lights work, man.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And how like the flashlights actually have like a noteworthy like trade-off in a way that like they don't quite in Tarkov.
Yeah.
Because they like shine through walls half the time and it's like ambiguous. And another cool element of this too is that like when you die, you control like the drones. Those little drones flying around. Like,
yeah.
So it's I don't know. I just find it neat in that like it gives you something to do. You're not just sitting there spectating. Like you kind of are like an eye in the sky for your team.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting. But oh God, dude. Like just I want this game so fucking bad.
Is there like a release date or anything for it? Or
I don't know.
Window?
I don't know. I right now I think you have to be like either like a big name to be able to play it, or I like join the Discord and I don't know. I've been trying to like I want to get in on one of these fucking play tests, dude.
Yeah.
So bad. It just looks incredible.
That's so sick, dude.
Yeah, this is the drone.
Oh.
The drones have night vision.
Yeah.
Oh God,
dude, the pixelated face thing makes it so much more eerie. Like,
oh, this is it. This is the moment. This is the moment where I'm like, dude, this is like, I feel like this is what it's like.
Oh,
just like the rag dolls and like the way that like you see the people like dying in front of you. Like, it's so savage, bro. I want to play this game so fucking bad.
That's so sick. Oh,
I just want to feel something other than frustration and annoyance.
Yeah.
Playing a game.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm so excited for a Gray Zone. I just want to like exist in a world for a while. You know what I mean? And just like do and just not. Yeah. I mean, just echo exactly what you just said. Just not feel frustration all the time. But, yeah. But yeah, man. So that's the stuff. That's the cool Tarkov and arena shenanigans. Some cool games that we're looking forward to. There's a lot of shooter adjacent, extraction adjacent games coming out in 2024. So it could be a pretty cool year to just like, even if there's no new big titan that takes over everything, just like variety and seeing what other people are doing with the genre of first person shooter. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging with us this week once again. And as always, if you want more of this, more unhinged conversations, if you want to guide our conversations by asking us questions or giving us content that you want us to watch and react to, you should check out the PP, patreon.com/the Pogcast pod, where we do early and ad-free access to these episodes and additional episodes every single week. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging. Thank you for supporting us. And we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.